all you need to do is go to this spot. Now, before you go to this location, you want to make sure that you have a ton of liquor, things that you can drink to make yourself pass out. So basically what you want to do is you want to cross the river. And you want to cross the river until you get to about this location right here. It's really close to Manteca Falls, which is just to the south of Thieves Landing, southeast of McFarland's Ranch, and also south of Blackwater. So you can see that you are able to cross like technically into Mexico, but we want to go even further. So once you've crossed and once you have liquor, you want to go to this little location right here. It's sort of against the wall that prevents you from going any further. And after that, you just want to drink until you simply pass out. Now, I'm not sure how many drinks this ultimately takes. For me, I went through about 3 fine brandies and 3 gins, and that seemed to do the job. You'll know it happens when you lose your mini map and you zoom out a lot. And when you wake up, it should be a couple of hours later. And if you've done this correctly, you should notice that you will be sort of further up the hill in Manteca Falls. And I guess I should have said this a little bit earlier, but I recorded this footage on Monday, April 29th. So that means that it is working on the latest version of Red Dead Redemption 2, whatever that might be. So that's another reason why this is so nice, because previous methods that you might have used could have been patched. And another thing that's great, you don't need a special wagon. You don't need to like run up some hill and hope you glitch through a wall. You literally just pass out, and now you're good to go. And now we are in Mexico, and you are free to explore as often and as much as you want. Now, because Mexico is such a vast and open area, one thing I would recommend doing is, since your horse is going to be unable to get with you, is spawn in a horse. There's a couple of cheats that work. I like the one that is run, exclamation point, run, exclamation point, run, exclamation point. That will actually spawn a racehorse for you that you can use to travel around the map a little bit easier. Now, one thing you don't want to do, especially if you'd like to get to Guarma and beyond, you don't want to sort of go into the basin of Mexico. That'll actually get you trapped in there. What you want to do is sort of get over the outer rim. And in order to do this, you basically just need to find a spot on the wall and try and climb up it. I found this spot right here, and it was relatively easy to get up top. And once you've done that, you are pretty much good to go. You can head to any location you want in Mexico. Now, there's not a ton of iconic places in the map of Mexico, especially because Rockstar hasn't really done anything with Mexico in Red Dead Redemption 2, but there are still a couple of pretty cool places that you can check out. Now, for this video, I wanted to show you guys how to also go to Guarma, because I feel like that has more value, not only in terms of things to do and see, but there's also a purpose with Guarma. Like, there's animals on Guarma that only spawn there, so you would need them to 100% fill up your compendium. So there is like an actual use for this other than just exploring. Now, I think there's about 3 stages to getting outside of the map. There's sort of the normal stage that still looks really, really nice, like the landscape. You'll find animals, the trees are still really good. And then you'll get to what I call the PlayStation 2 sort of zone. The PlayStation 2 zone is where the grass and the ground starts to sort of lose texture. Same with the trees. So it sort of looks like you're playing a PlayStation 2 game. That's why I call it the PS2 era. The ground just starts to look really, really bad. Now, as you get further along, you'll notice that you will start to get really close to what the game considers the water, especially if you start heading to the southeast. And you'll even start to notice this on the mini-map, that I will eventually run out of land and I will technically be walking on water. Now, once you start sort of traveling on this water area, this is when you will sort of reach the Nintendo 64 era zone. This is when some parts of the land really don't even look like land. It just looks like a blurry blob. So you go from normal to PlayStation 2 to Nintendo 64. And once you've reached the Nintendo 64 zone, this is when you're going to start to get close to Guarma. Basically, all you have to do is head southeast until you get really, really close to Guarma's shore. And what will eventually happen is you'll just be riding along on your horse, and you will soon enough run out of land. And you'll know this happens when you just sort of walk off a cliff. Now, you're supposed to do this. You're supposed to fall over and die. You wouldn't think that's a good thing, but it actually is. Because if you do that successfully, you will now spawn on the island of Guarma. And now you are free to explore whatever you want.